Hello, viewers. Another episode of Tips, Taps, and Thoughts. And today, in this video, I would like to tell you an interesting story about the reality of being a left-handed drummer or a left-footed drummer. We'll get into that a little later because I think it's more so the complexity of what happens down here versus up here. But before I jump into that side of the discussion, let me tell you the story. This is mid-90s, 97, 98. I had a steady gig in Boston, Massachusetts. When I say steady, I'm talking about 7 nights a week, sometimes twice a day. We had a brunch cruise and a dinner cruise on the weekends, and sometimes even a triple. We had a moonlight cruise after dinner. Anyway, so talking about steady as in many, many gigs and always in the same spot. And it was a beautiful boat that still operates in the Boston Harbor, a 4-hour type show, a little bit of dinner music, softer, and then getting a little bit more into soft dancing, and then eventually party music. One of those. So I started as a sub, then I became a permanent drummer, and I think in season 3, so after I had done 2 full summers, it was actually more than the summer. We would go from April all the way through Christmas, including the Christmas parties. So I'm talking about maybe 150, 200 gigs a year. And it was great. The drum set was always there. I just had to show up, bring my cymbals if I wanted to, and play. But one year, the 3rd season, I believe, I was a little bit unchallenged. I knew the repertoire. I had been doing it, again, many, many times in a row. You know, this was the 3rd season of doing not the same songs in the same order, but just about that. And so when I felt really comfortable with the repertoire, and I kind of thought that it wasn't challenging enough for me, I came up with the idea of, well, let's make the best out of this. I'm going to switch the drum set from the left-hand position, my hi-hat and my snare drum, to this or that. Anyway, just flip the set around like most people would set it up. And so I thought about it for a moment, and then I said, well, I'll do it. I know the songs well enough. I'll play whatever I can. I know what it takes to play the gig. I have to be solid, play some timekeeping, and get people to dance in the last set. But I guess I felt comfortable enough that I could do it. And so I just did it. Didn't tell anybody. Nobody noticed either. So I flipped the drums around. I think we did a couple of rehearsals. And I'm not sure if at the rehearsals I switched the kit. Maybe not. I think I switched kit right before the gig. So here's the what happened. Here's the interesting part of the story, I guess. But the prelude was important, because if I didn't give you the background, then, it wouldn't make too much sense what I'm about to say now. So we played a show, and I remember being really, really limited in the choices of what I could do. I really had to focus on keeping time. I was playing open. I wasn't crossing hand, so that my left hand was still doing the same things that I normally do, which is play the hi-hat or the ride cymbal. And so I was really, really focusing on the essentials, because I lost all the dexterity and all the facility that I normally would have playing, when the kit was set up for a left-handed person. So I played the show. I remember, playing a bossa nova type feel, and I really had to zone in or zoom in, whatever you want to call it, so that the foot would be flipped. And if you remember what I said a little earlier, a couple of minutes ago, to me, the real challenge has always been, if I play right-handed, is to actually play right-footed. So that's what really makes you backwards or playing the opposite, so to speak. Because with the hands, you can actually play open and kind of do the same thing. Yeah, the toms are in a different order, small to large. If you have two big cymbals, you can ride on this or you can ride on that. No big deal, give and take. And then you can crash from both. But when it comes to the bottom, I remember playing this bossa nova and telling myself, it's pum pum, cheep pum pum, cheep pum pum, cheep pum pum, instead of cheat cheat, pum cheat cheat, pum cheat cheat, which was, might have been the natural thing that my feet wanted to play if you go into that muscle memory type thing, which, we all know that's something we end up doing on some capacity, but that's not really how you play music. But there are times where you go in pilot mode with a couple of limbs so that the other ones could be free and be able to express themselves and do music with it. So basically, I finished the first set, second set, third set, and I feel like I'm getting a little better. I'm breaking the fear. I'm a little more in the comfort zone. And comes the end of the gig. Now, again, I said it before, nobody noticed because people really don't pay attention. Even when I play Lefty, I show up very few times. People would go like, oh, you're a left-handed drummer. Sometimes on small spaces, if the bass player is so used to see the hi-hat always in that corner, and now all of a sudden it's on it's far away from him or close to him or her, then they might notice. Otherwise, most people don't notice, don't care. We end the gig, and the band leader at the time, great piano player, Ron Poster, comes to me and he gives me a hug. And he tells me, so good to see you, welcome back. He gives me this big hug. And then he tells me, you sounded so good tonight. I loved it. Really in the pocket. That's how I want you to play. Wow. I said, I thought to myself, really? Incredible. Now, the moral of the story is that I don't think I told him that I was backwards. I don't think I did. But on my way home, I got thinking, I really got into this, whatever I heard got me thinking as far as what happened was that basically he loved my playing because me not having the facility of doing whatever else I was doing normally on the gig, on the same songs. Remember, as I said before, we wouldn't play the same exact songs in the same order, but maybe 70% of the repertoire was the same. Maybe 80, I don't know. Doesn't matter. But I guess what really matters is the lesson that I learned, the lesson that I pass on to my students, and hopefully to you viewers. Sometimes less is more, is really more. To be out of my comfort zone, I had to put my priorities in place. Okay, what do? Timekeeping, feel, groove, drive the band. So I wouldn't play maybe too many fills, which I guess I was playing before. Maybe I was embellishing too much on the hi-hat or going too often to the toms. I don't really know what prompted my band leader to tell me what he told me, but I know what I'm about to tell you now, and that's really important. So, as an experiment, you can do that. You can practice your favorite songs, switch the kit around. As a right-handed drummer, it's very unlikely that you show up and there's a lefty set. For me, it was always like that. I've been exposed maybe that's why and how I developed the ability that I have now to play both. I'm still way more comfortable playing on a left-handed kit. I always set up that way if I have the opportunity, and if it's my kit or I bring it in, or if I tour with someone, I always put on the rider that I'm a left-handed drummer and I need the kit lefty. With that being said, it happens, it happened, it will happen. I show up, walk into a club, someone goes like, "Hey, Sergio," maybe the band leader knows me, calls me up on stage, or I go to a jam session. I don't want to inconvenience someone. Or it happened on the road too, a festival back to back, and for some reason the whole production is delayed and we want to go on. If I think I can cut it, I'm not going to make a stink out of it. I'll just hop on stage and do it. Again, do I sound better on my normal quote-unquote side, which is the left version of the kit? The answer is yes, but I learned how to do it the other way. The learning curve has been incredible, such a wonderful experience, and I recommend you to do it, whether you want to try on a easy quote-unquote gig, or maybe you want to do it when you rehearse. Sometimes just give yourself a week or 2 weeks to do everything backwards. You're going to gain a tremendous mental advantage, understanding the priorities of what your role is as a drummer. And because you'll have less tools available, so you'll have to prioritize and then really dig and use the tools that you have for what the job requires. Again, time, feel, groove, timekeeping. So you're going to gain that from a mental, standpoint. But on a practical level, your dexterity on the kit will be much better. It will make you think differently, and you'll learn some motions that normally are going this way. You'll do them that way. And there's all sort of things. You may improve your weaker limb because of the way the setup is in front of you. You might every now and then try to ride with the limb you normally don't, get out of the comfort zone. I'm telling you, the advantage of doing it is tremendous. Don't ever do that and sacrifice the outcome of a gig. I was lucky. I took a chance. It went well. It actually, as I said in the story, went better than I expected. That gave me the incentive to continue and to do it again. But, don't try this on a gig where maybe you really need to be in the comfort zone and be on your kit set up the way you want. So give it some time. My situation was particular. It was a steady gig, and I knew the repertoire very well. And I also took a chance. Maybe I should have done that a little before in the practice room. Truth of the matter is that being a left-handed drummer, I have been in teaching studios sometimes where there was only one set. And of course, I would set up right-handed to accommodate the majority of my students. As a matter of fact, I believe the summer before, I was teaching at the DeCenzo drum shop in Quincy, Mass, owned by the great Dick DeCenzo, father of Dave DeCenzo. And I believe we only had one kit in the room and a pad. So the kit was always right-handed. And of course, I had to sit down and demonstrate to my students whatever I wanted them to work on. So I think that gave me a first chance to play right-handed. I don't recall exactly when did I do that first, but I hope you liked the story about my switching. And I did it for 2 seasons. So for 2 entire summers, I played right-handed. And I'm grateful I did. I'm thankful for the musicians that were there and I guess allowed me to do it, or didn't notice, didn't complain, and the rest is history. So, that big hug from Ron Poster, I guess, gave me the spark and the motivation to continue on the journey. Okay, so that's my story. If you liked it, there will be more. Hit like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I shall see you real soon. Thank you.